All right, my name is Chris. I've been sober just under 7 years. My mother, she was a very strict woman. She came straight from Germany, so I had a very, like I said, hard upbringing. I wasn't beaten or anything like that, so I had want of nothing. I worked hard even as a kid, and I got what I needed. I did everything short of needles, but alcohol was that was my thing. Initially, it was the buzz, and I wanted to keep that buzz going. As I found out after as I got older in my drinking, the buzz turned to, something a lot worse. It was just, sloppy drunk all the time. I always wanted that one buzz, but I wanted to stop at that buzz, but it just kept going. I loved the feeling of it, so I kept chasing it. I carried away with my drinking for, nearly 25 years. I tried other things, weed especially, coke, everything pretty much short of needles, but anything to get me out of reality. The reality of my situation was I was just a very angry guy, and that alcohol just drowned that anger away. The first drug was weed. I think I was around 17, and like the booze, I liked it, and I liked the feeling it gave me, and it gave me a little bit more control over my body than the alcohol did. I could smoke a ton of joints, but I wouldn't be falling down all over the place. Early on in my drinking, my buddies and I, of course, were at the bar, one of the local bars downtown here in Montreal. And we were young, I'd say around 18, 19. And as we were leaving the bar, there was a big, street fight going on, and the cops were involved. And I watched, as they, you see it in the news all the time, and I don't think it matters what country you're in, is like the police brutality. So these cops were running around just smacking whoever they wanted over the head with their batons. One of my friends was in a fight with somebody, and somebody pulled a knife and stabbed my buddy in between his ribs. Just the blade just came about half an inch from his heart, and he was so drunk he didn't even know he was stabbed. They only found him the next day in his bed in a pool of his own blood, barely alive, and they had to rush him to the hospital. I hear it often. I used to hear it in some of the meetings I go to, is people hit a bottom. I didn't need to hit a bottom. I would hit a bottom, and I'd have a shovel with me so I could dig myself deeper. The last drink I took was March 28th of 2014. And I remember I had just gotten paid. I need to pay my rent, my bills, and all that. And I stopped off at the local bar for a drink. The thing is, I had my drink, my coat on, my bag, and I was going to leave in the door. And the bartender coming in for her shift said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Well, I got to leave. I got bills to pay." She said, "Stay for one shot." Famous last words. Next thing I know, I wake up the next afternoon. I got no money, of course. This is a regular occurrence. But the thing that really changed my mind is, I was not a kid anymore. I wasn't 20 or 30 even. I was 41 or 42 at the time. And I was living on my buddy's couch. I had the worst hangover I ever had. It was the beginning of I was just starting to get the DTs. I could tell. It took me an hour to get off the couch, sleeping on my buddy's couch. And I remember wanting to take a walk to get the blood flowing again. And then as I'm walking around, I happened to look up. The first time I'd ever seen or noticed, like, the sun was setting. And I don't want to call it a voice or hit by lightning or anything. I was just made aware that I had to get back to my program. I went back, and this time I went fully aware of what I had to do, what I needed to do to get well. I tried for years doing it my way, doing it doctor's ways, doing it, because my family wanted me to do it, and all that did was start more resentments. I had to do a lot of things. I had to surrender to the reality of my situation and becoming honest with myself. That is a huge, huge thing. I couldn't point the finger at anyone anymore. I had to be accountable for my actions. I had to take responsibility. I became very, very adept at eliminating people from my life. Not because I was angry with them, but in hindsight, knowing the condition I was in, and wanting to hide that from people. I mean, I wasn't fooling anyone but myself, and I had to attack all those issues I had in the past. My drinking and using was a symptom of the real issue, which was me. My first year of real sobriety, I got myself out of debt. I got out of that crappy apartment with my buddy. My sponsor took me in and gave me a room at his place, at his house. I lived there for a year. I first met him my first time around in AA. And I was a very, very high-strung, angry guy. And he, in turn, is this really relaxed, laid-back guy. So it kind of pulled me back a bit and helped me get out of myself. And he taught me really how to relax and look at things from a different perspective. I owe everything to that guy. He, like I said, he gave me a place to live, and we worked our steps together. I was part of his family, and I'll always be grateful to him forever. Compared to what I used to be, man, I'm now 48 years old. I got a good job. I got a roof over my head. I met my future wife, my fiance, in the program. We got together, and we have a 5-year-old daughter now. I mean, I'm proud of that. I don't want to say proud of. I'm happy I've done is work to better myself, and in turn earn respect of others around me. I watch all this stuff on people's comments concerning addiction and everything, and I can only give you my personal opinion because I had alcohol and drugs in my story. I don't differentiate either or. I don't think it's one team and another team. I think addiction is addiction, and if I could take it and it got me out of reality, and that was all fine for me. I know when newcomers, they come in, man, and they're scared. They don't want to admit they're scared, but that's the enemy. It's the fear, right? It's the fear of the unknown. If I do alcohol and drugs, I know where I am. But if I don't have that in my life, what am I? And that was a question I had asked myself. But that's the beauty of it. You work your steps, you get clean, you get sober. That's one thing. Now, what do I do to be the person I need to be the person I want to be? A lot of people come in the rooms of AA, they hear that word God and they freak out. But if you read the steps carefully, it says a God of your understanding, a higher power of your understanding. What do you want as your higher power? If you don't believe in God, that's one thing. A lot of people will use the people in the room they're in, use that as their higher power. So it's got to start slowly at first. I mean, you can't just jump unless you're a religious person. And if you are, that's good for you. I got no disrespect for that at all. I'm not, but I do believe in a God now. Maybe not a religious God per se, but I know it's there, and I always had to keep looking for the little signs, whether it's talking to me through a person or something I see. So what I would say to newcomer is, having trouble, man, you stick with it. You stick with it. You stay in there. Even if you don't want to, especially if you don't want to, go and do it. You have nothing to lose and literally everything to gain.